Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive we're doing into AI and the future of work. It seems like it's everywhere you look these days, and honestly, it can feel a little overwhelming. All this talk about robots taking our jobs. But is that what's really going to happen? So we're
Yeah.
going to be taking Tomorrow's Intelligence as our guide for this one. That's the podcast we're using as source material.
Yeah.
And try to sort through all the hype and see what's actually going on.
Yeah, it's definitely complicated. I mean, the headlines don't exactly paint the full picture. AI is already changing the way we work, even if we don't realize it.
That's true. It's not just something out of science fiction anymore, is it? In Tomorrow's Intelligence, they had this really cool example. This marketing director was using AI to go through tons of customer data and predict buying trends. What really struck me was that this gave her team the time to focus on the creative stuff, like actually making the ad campaigns instead of drowning in spreadsheets.
That's a perfect example of what we call augmented intelligence. It's not about replacing people's jobs. It's more about giving people new tools to be even better at their jobs. Kind of like, okay, if AI can take care of those tasks that are the same every time, it frees up humans to do what they do best. Stuff like strategy, creativity, building relationships. Those are all things AI still struggles with.
Okay, so maybe the robots aren't coming for all the jobs, but
It
let's be real for a second. Some jobs are definitely more at risk than others,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. And Tomorrow's Intelligence was pretty upfront about that. They interviewed an economist who's an expert on how automation is changing work, and he made a really important point. Jobs that involve doing the same things over and over, those are the ones that are going to be most affected, like manufacturing. We already see robots taking over on assembly lines, or data entry. AI is way faster at processing information than humans are. Even some finance jobs, like processing loans, are being transformed by these algorithms.
So basically, if a job is very predictable, step by step,
Hmm.
it's more likely to be automated at some point.
Hmm.
Which makes sense, I guess, but it's also kind of unsettling. I mean, for those workers, what happens to them?
Yeah, that's a really important question. And honestly, it's something we need to be having more conversations about as a society.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Every time we've had a big technological shift, we've seen this happen, jobs disappear, but then whole new industries pop up that we couldn't have even imagined. Like the internet, sure, it wiped out some jobs, but it also created so many more in areas like web development, e-commerce, social media. It's not just jobs disappearing, it's a shift in what kind of work is
Well,
needed.
it's a good point. It's not just about jobs vanishing. It's more like a reshuffling.
Yeah.
So is that what Tomorrow's Intelligence is saying about AI?
Yeah.
That we're going to see all these new jobs that we can't even picture right now?
Exactly. And in fact, some of these jobs are already starting to appear. Tomorrow's Intelligence had a whole section on this. They talked about the rise of data scientists. They help companies understand all the data that AI is generating. And then there are AI ethicists. They're focused on the ethical and social implications of this technology.
AI ethicists. Okay, I have to admit, I never even heard of that before. What do they actually do?
Well, think of it like this. AI learns from the data it's given, right? So if that data is biased, the AI could end up being biased too. The job of an AI ethicist is to make sure these systems are being developed and used responsibly, so they don't end up discriminating against certain groups of people.
Ah, I see. So basically, AI is like a mirror reflecting our own biases back at us.
Hmm.
So we need people to make sure it's being used for good. This is already making me think about work differently and the skills we're going to need in the future. It sounds like Tomorrow's Intelligence talked about that too.
Oh, absolutely. One of their main points was that even though AI is amazing at certain things, like crunching numbers or analyzing data, it's not so good at others. Things like creativity, complex problem solving, emotional intelligence, and being able to adapt to new situations. These are things that make us human, and they're going to be even more valuable in the future.
So it's not about trying to become robots ourselves. It's more about focusing on those uniquely human abilities.
Exactly. It's all about partnerships. Humans and AI working together, each doing what they do best.
So you've got robots handling the repetitive stuff, humans being creative and coming up with strategies,
Yeah.
and AI ethicists making sure it's all being used ethically. Sounds like a good team. But it wasn't all sunshine and roses in Tomorrow's Intelligence, was it? Didn't they also talk about how AI is affecting the gig economy?
Yeah, they did. They spent a good chunk of the episode talking about how AI is changing, not only what jobs are out there, but also the whole structure of work. There are three platforms that are using AI to connect freelancers with jobs super efficiently, and remote work is becoming way more common because of these tools that let people collaborate from anywhere in the world.
Yeah, they had this expert on the show
Mm.
who said AI is like having your own personal job recruiter in your pocket, always searching for the perfect opportunity for you, which sounds kind of amazing. But let's be honest, the gig economy has its downsides too, right?
It definitely does. And tomorrow's intelligence didn't try to hide that. They talked about how in the gig economy, you often don't have the same job security and you don't get benefits like health insurance or paid time off. Plus, there's this constant pressure to always be hustling for the next gig. It's almost like we're trading the old safety net of traditional jobs for this new world that's much more unpredictable.
And this is where I think it really hits home for you, our listener. It's not just about whether or not a robot will take your job. It's about AI changing the whole way work functions.
Exactly. The rules of the game are changing, and we all need to be aware of that. But before you start panicking, there's good news too.
Ooh, a cliffhanger. Well, we're going to have to save that good news for the next part of this deep dive, so stay tuned. All right, so we're back. And before we went to, well, not a break, because we don't do breaks in deep dives, we were in the middle of this whole AI and the gig economy thing, which is pretty exciting, but also kind of scary. So where do we go from here? What are we supposed to do about all of this?
Well, the good news is tomorrow's intelligence didn't just leave us hanging, with this feeling like the world's about to end or something. They actually talked to some career experts about how to deal with this AI revolution. And the biggest takeaway, I think, was that we need to be adaptable and focus on lifelong learning.
Okay, so we don't need to suddenly become AI experts overnight.
No, not at all. It's more about realizing that the skills we need are going to keep changing as technology changes. It's like you're building this mental toolkit that you can keep updating and adding to.
So like if my trusty hammer isn't working anymore, maybe it's time to learn how to use a power drill.
Yeah.
But in this case, the tools are our skills, right?
Exactly. And one of the tools they recommended was data literacy. It's basically being able to understand and work with data, even if you're not a programmer.
So like being able to look at a spreadsheet and get what it's saying, even if you don't know how to build one yourself. That seems pretty important in a world where AI is spitting out data like crazy.
Absolutely. And then there's problem solving. That's always been important. But now it's even more so because AI is changing the kinds of problems we need to solve. We need to think critically, spot patterns, come up with creative solutions that AI might miss.
Okay, data literacy problem solving. Got it. What else should we be adding to our mental toolkits?
Well, this one might surprise you. They also suggested learning about AI ethics.
Wait, really? Why would the average person need to know about AI ethics? Isn't that something for like philosophers or tech geniuses to worry about?
It's becoming important for everyone. Remember how we talked about AI reflecting and amplifying our biases? Well, if we're going to be working with AI, using it to make decisions,
Yeah.
we need to understand the ethical side of things. It's not just up to the tech people. We all have a responsibility to make sure AI is used ethically and fairly.
That's a good point. It's like just because you can use a tool doesn't mean you should use it without thinking about the consequences. Okay, data literacy, problem solving, AI ethics. It feels like a lot to keep up with. What about people who aren't super tech savvy? Do we all need to learn how to code to survive in this AI future?
That's actually one of the things I found really reassuring about tomorrow's intelligence. They were very clear that you don't need to be a programmer to do well in this new work. In fact, they said the most important skills are the ones AI can't copy.
So all those human things we talked about, like creativity, empathy, communication, collaboration, critical thinking.
Exactly. Those are the skills that set you apart from machines. AI might be able to write a decent email or even compose a simple song, but it can't replicate real human connection. The ability to inspire, to lead, to understand complex emotions, or to adapt to unexpected situations.
That's a big relief, honestly. I was starting to think I needed to sign up for a coding boot camp right away. So it's less about becoming AI experts and more about becoming even better humans.
That's a great way to put it. Focus on what makes us unique and valuable. Those are the things AI struggles with. Tomorrow's intelligence even suggested that AI might actually help us to become more human, more empathetic, and more creative, because those are the qualities that are going to be in high demand.
I love that idea. Like AI is giving us a chance to rethink what it means to be human at work. So just to sum up for our listeners, AI is changing the way things work. Some jobs are at risk, new ones are popping up. But the key is to be adaptable. Focus on learning new things throughout your life and really hone those skills that make us human.
You got it. But even with all this great advice, it's still easy to feel a bit overwhelmed, right? The future's uncertain and change can be scary.
Absolutely. Even with all the right tools, it's hard not to wonder what's coming next. Did tomorrow's intelligence have anything to say about how to deal with that uncertainty?
They did, and it was really powerful. They said that instead of being afraid of the unknown, we should try to embrace it. The future of work might be uncertain, but it's also full of potential. The people who will succeed, are the ones who are open to change, who are willing to learn and adapt, who focus on what they do best, and who see AI as a partner, not a threat.
Thrive, not just survive. I
Mhm.
like that. But as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to bring it back to you, our listener, because this isn't just some abstract conversation about the future. It's about your career, your livelihood, your future.
You're right. So, listener, here's what we want you to think about. What skills do you want to develop to prepare for this AI-powered world? What are your unique strengths that AI can't replicate? What makes you invaluable?
These are questions we're going to keep exploring in the final part of this deep dive, so stick with us. So
Yeah.
here we are, the final part of our deep dive into AI and the future of work. We've covered a lot of ground so far, haven't we? I mean, we've talked about everything from robots on assembly lines to
Mhm.
the rise of AI ethicists. And it's pretty clear AI isn't just some trend that's going to fade away. It's here to stay, and it's changing the way we work in a big way.
Absolutely. And I think one of the most important things we can take away from tomorrow's intelligence is that we don't need to be afraid of this change. Actually, we can use it to our advantage.
Exactly. And before, well, we didn't really go to a break
Yeah.
because we don't do breaks and deep dives. But we did ask you, our listener, to think about your skills and what makes you so valuable in this new world. So let's explore that a bit more. Tomorrow's Intelligence actually had some great practical advice on how to make this all work.
Oh, they did. One of the things they stressed was that you don't have to become an AI expert to be successful. It's more about understanding how AI is affecting your specific field and then figuring out how to adapt. Like they talked about marketing, which we mentioned earlier. AI can now analyze tons of data and personalize ad campaigns in ways that weren't possible before.
Yeah, but they also made it clear that that doesn't mean human marketers are out of a job. In fact, it could actually make them even more important.
Exactly, because while AI is doing the data crunching, marketers can focus on what they're really good at. Things like understanding how customers think, creating stories that people connect with, and building brands that resonate on an emotional level.
So basically, AI is taking care of the science part of marketing, which lets humans focus on the art.
I like that analogy. And this is true for other fields too. Think about healthcare. AI can help doctors look at medical scans and diagnose diseases with incredible accuracy.
Which is amazing, but that doesn't mean we don't need doctors to treat patients, right?
Of course not. AI can be a super useful tool, but it can't replace human empathy or the ability to listen to patients and explain things in a way they understand.
So it's not really humans versus machines. It's more like humans working with machines
Right.
to get better results.
Exactly. And this is where all those human skills, the ones we keep talking about, they become really important. Tomorrow's intelligence kept coming back to this idea that soft skills, like communication collaboration, critical thinking, problem solving, those are the skills that are going to be in even higher demand in the future.
Because those are the things that set us apart from machines, right? AI can process information,
Yeah.
but it can't really understand it the way we do.
Right. And it can't build relationships or inspire teams or adapt to unexpected situations the way we can.
So what can our listeners do to build up those skills and make themselves indispensable in this new world? Did Tomorrow's Intelligence have any tips?
They did. First, they said it's important to be proactive. Don't wait for your job to be automated. Start thinking now about how you can learn new skills. There are tons of online courses and resources out there that can help you learn about AI data literacy and other relevant stuff.
Yeah, even if you don't want to become a tech expert, just understanding the basics of AI and how it's affecting your industry can give you a huge advantage.
Absolutely. The second thing they recommended was networking and collaboration. Connect with people in your field who are already working with AI. Learn from them and share your own insights.
Because none of us have all the answers, right? This is all so new. We're all figuring it out together.
Exactly. And finally, they said don't be afraid to experiment. Try out new tools, explore different approaches, and don't worry about making mistakes. Because in this fast-paced world, being able to adapt is key.
So basically, embrace the uncertainty, stay curious, and never stop learning. That's a pretty good motto for the future of work, don't you think?
I think so. Because in the end, AI is just a tool. It's up to us humans to decide how we use it and to shape the future of work in a way that benefits everyone.
That's a great thought to leave our listeners with. So as you go out into the world, remember this. The future of work might be a little scary, but it's also full of exciting opportunities. Be open to change, keep learning, and focus on what makes you unique. Because in a world where machines are getting smarter every day, it's our human qualities that are truly special. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, Amon.